Hello everyone. My name is Fran Valdez Suarez, and I'm currently pursuing my Bachelor's of Science in Nursing here at Miami-Dade College. I'm 23 years old, and I was born and raised in Cuba. I came to the United States when I was 13, and it was one of the biggest transactions of my life. It changed my perception, challenged me, and helped me grow, not just as a student and a future nurse, but also as a person. Today, I want to talk about my culture, how it shapes my identity and belief, the way I view healthcare, healthcare, and how I interact with the world. Culture is more than just where we came from. It's about value, language, faith, and even the way we respond to illness or healing. I was born in Cuba, a small island in the Caribbean, known for its vibrant culture, strong family ties, music, and reliance. Life in Cuba was not easy, especially when it came to resources and opportunity. But one thing that always stood out was the strength of the community. People help each other, families stick together. Even when times are tough, you see people smiling, dancing, and making the most of life. Cuban taught me gratitude, patience, and importance of simple things. Even though I have now lived in the US for 10 years, those early experiences in Cuba still influence how I see the world and how I plan to care for others as a nurse. When I arrived in the United States, I was excited but also nervous. I had to adjust to a completely new language, new customs, and a faster paced lifestyle. It wasn't easy, but I was determined to succeed. This experience helped me understand what it's like to feel like an outsider, and that understanding will help me support future patients who may be feeling the same. Culturally, I identify as a Cuban American and Latino. I'm heterosexual male, and I hold many of the traditional values that are common in Cuban families. My upbringing was centered around respect for family, other, and strong community ties. In our culture, there is a big focus on being there for one another. When someone is sick, it's not just the individual going through it, it's the whole family together to support them. My ethnic identifying as Afro-Cuban and Mexican, like many Cubans who have Spanish, African, and indigenous ancestries. This rich mix shows in our traditions, our food, and even our belief. It also shapes how we understand identity and differences. In Cuba, we often focus more on unity and shared cultures than one dividing people for race. But that doesn't mean racial issues don't exist. It just means we navigate them in different ways. Being Latino in the US means that sometimes I carry the weight of two worlds, preserving my culture while adapting to a new one. That dual identity is something I value, and it allows me to understand and connect with people from all backgrounds. In healthcare, this will be essential. My race identity is tied to being Afro-Latino and mixed races. In Cuba, we don't always talk about race the same way it's talked about in the US, but we do recognize differences. After moving here, I became more aware of how race impacts daily life, especially in terms of opportunity and how people are treated in healthcare settings. This awareness has made me very sensitive to the needs of patients from marginalized or underserved backgrounds. I understand how powerful it is to feel seen, respected, and heard. As a nurse, I want to make sure every patient feels like their background is understood and honored. Race should never be a barrier to receive quality care. By understanding the role that race, ethnicity, and culture play in healthcare, I hope to be part of new generation of nurses who provide equal, equitable, and inclusive care for all. Religion in Cuba is deeply rooted in both Catholics and Santeria, a faith that blends African Yoruba spiritual belief with Catholic traditions. Many families practice both, sometimes without realizing how much the two are intertwined. In my home, Christian values play a major role. My family believes in God, prayers, and doing what is right. We didn't go to church regularly, but religion was always present in the way we live our life. For example, we always prayed when someone was sick or going through something difficult. Prayer both comfort, hope, and senses of protection. While I don't identify as strictly religious, I don't consider myself spiritually. I believe there's something bigger than us guiding our life. This belief gives me a strength, especially during challenging times. In healthcare, spirituality is important, not just the providers, but for patients too. Understanding a patient's faith or spiritual needs can help improve their healing experience. I want to be a nurse who supports that, whether it means praying with a patient, honoring a religious custom, or simply listening when they need spiritual comfort. My views on society are shaped by growing up in a country where healthcare is considered a right, but resources are extremely limited. In Cuba, everyone has access to healthcare. There are no bills to pay at the end of the visit, but that does not mean the system works perfectly. There are shortage of medicine, outdated equipment, and long waits. So, while intention of equality is there, the reality is far from ideal. In contrast, the US has world-class medical facility, advanced technology, and highly trained professionals, but access is unequal. Many people, especially immigrant, people of color, or low-income families, face barriers like high costs, language gaps, or cultural misunderstanding. This has made me believe that true healthcare reforms needs to balance quality with access. We need systems that are fair and culturally responsive. Patients shouldn't feel ignored because they don't speak English well or because their beliefs don't fit the standards model of care. Cuban culture also has a specific belief about health. For example, many people rely on home remedies, herbal medicine, or all family advice before going to the doctor. This isn't because people don't trust doctors. It's often because care is not easily available. So people learn to care for themselves. As nurses, I respect those traditions. If a patient tells me about a remedy their grandmother recommended, I won't dismiss it. I will try to understand it and see how we can integrate it safely with modern care. That level of culture sensitivity is key to earn trust. At home, I speak Spanish. It's my first language and a huge part of who I am. Speaking Spanish keeps me connected to my family, my culture, and my roots. It's the language of my childhood, my values, and my identity. I work or in clinical settings, being bilingual has been one of the biggest assets I have. When I speak to a Spanish speaker patient in their language, I can see their relief. There, there is an instant connection. They feel heard, they feel safer, and that's powerful. In nursing, language is not just about words, it's about trust. Patients need to know that you understand them, not just medically, but also emotionally. Speaking someone's language can reduce anxiety, improve outcomes, and create a better overall experience. I plan to use my language skills to break the gap between cultures and ensure that no patient ever feel left out or misunderstood. To sum it all up, my culture as a Cuban American, Afro Latino, bilingual male deeply influenced who I am and how I see the world. It shapes my identity, my belief, and my passion for healthcare. Being raised in Cuba taught me about strength and compassion. Moving to the US taught me about opportunity and growth. And becoming a nurse is my way of combining both to serve others with knowledge, kindness, and cultural respect. Thank you for taking the time to learn about my culture. I hope my story shows how important it is to bring our whole self, our heritage, our language, our value into the work we do, especially in nursing.